Well, first off, just kind of quick statement, proud of our football team. It's been 19 hard, grueling days. Obviously we got a beautiful day for a scrimmage. Still a long way to go for 2 weeks out. Some pre-snap penalties, but I'm proud of the progress we've made. We've grown tremendously since January 1st, since I've been here. Still finding and carving out a lot of roles. We'll take this tape, and I told the guys it isn't about one day. It isn't about what you did today. It's what you've done since January 1st or the first day you got here. So a lot of things will be figured out from here as we work into, obviously, first one game prep, but really proud of this football team and proud to be their head coach.
Coach, outside of the penalties, it felt like this was maybe the offense's best day for the entire camp. Did you feel like they were looser than they were scrimmage one?
Yeah, go be yourself. We put in too much work to play uptight, to not push the ball. The physicality was finally really there. I thought they won the line of scrimmage on the offensive side, and anytime you can do that, you're going to start tilting the field your way. I got to watch the quarterbacks, but I thought we took what was there. We still missed a couple things, but a really productive day on offense. The biggest difference is they finished in some of those red zone situations where a week ago defense got all those stops. It feels like, we're not progressing. So, a lot of positive things, proud of the offensive unit, the way they responded, but not just today, but really, on Monday when we came back, I thought they had a great focus all week.
What is your process or timeline for quarterback right now?
I told we got a special teams really walk through situational Sunday. We got one more good practice on Monday, day off, and we prepare to start practicing for Kennesaw on Wednesday. So, between these next 3 days, we'll really work towards that goal. And just kind of see where it leads us, but I feel like we'll be pretty close.
How much growth have you seen out of them from practice one to now?
Guys, I watched practice one of spring ball last night just to make myself feel better. We've come so far, but I think that's what people forget. Everyone wants instant success. They want to go out there and score all the touchdowns, but they forget the process that's involved in growing. And I'm just talking about the top guys. I'm talking about us as a program, our physicality, the way we practice, our mentality on the field, our body language. Just really proud of this group. So we'll continue to carve out a lot of roles. There's a lot of decisions to be made. Once again, that's a process to get to this point and a continued process to keep your role on the team.
Take a luxury to have two really good kickers that you kind of seem to be. I mean, how much of a luxury is that?
It's been great. Kicking is a mental game more than a lot of different positions. And I think Connor was a little tight to start camp, thinking he had to come be Superman. Nope, swing easy, hit hard. And I think you saw that today. Matt's been ultra consistent. It's a big position that wins and loses football games. So, put through Caleb in the mix. Cal Joseph is finally getting his feet wet as a punter. I mean, he nuked one, he kicking it left there. So our specialists need to be weapons, and those guys have done a good job so far.
And with Damon, obviously you don't want him getting hit. I mean, how's that been as you guys are getting close? He wants to be on game day. He's ready.
Yeah, I mean, we do enough individual stuff. We call them deke drills where he's getting thudded up. He's been in a couple live individual tackling drills, but out here, I'm just telling you, when you blow the whistle and you think he's down, you go back and watch the film, you're like, no way he's down, right? And he's got that competitive spirit. He's had a great camp, and he's ready for a tremendous season.
Yeah, it looked like the officials shorted him some yardage a few times.
I'm
sure he would say that too.
He'll tell you that. Yeah, but I love that. That's the competitive nature I think we need. There's some of that, right? There's the balance of taking yourself too far, but also saying, Coach, hey, no way I'm down there, right? I love that spirit. We're going to need to utilize him in so many different ways. You saw him in the pass game. Make a big explosive play down the sideline. So I love where he's at, and as a pass protector, he's getting better and better as a three-down player. Love where his game is at and where his mental focus intensity is.
Ty Clark has looked really good out there also. So, I mean, you've got some relief for Damon.
Yeah, we got a nice little three-pack there. I mean, Jamario Clemens, you still see him getting downhill aggressively fast. And I think we're going to do a better job even as we game plan, what are their styles of runners? Jamario's not an outside zone guy. You get him downhill in the inside zone in the counter power games, you see his strengths. Ty is continuing to go. I thought he's had a great camp so far, and it's good because we're going to need all those guys with the style of football we want to play.
Offensive line, how you wait? I saw the first five guys that went out and started the scrimmage. I mean, they all look pretty good.
We feel good about, all the way up to about 8-9, which I think is a really good place to be. You talk about, the guys, Melvin Siani's had a tremendous camp, and we didn't see him out there in spring. Clint Richards, has always been a guy athletically could do it. George Sell is playing faster and freer than he has his whole life, man. I'm really proud of that kid. Lely's the best I've seen him since we've been together, and Dev's a stalwart. And then, you got Sty, you got Dennison, you got Hines. Like, I feel good about the growth and development of that unit, but also 5 senior guys that played a lot of football. So we're going to have to lean into that as we go throughout the season.
What about linebacker too? Linebacker seems really deep.
Yeah, I mean, I really competitive, and we talked a lot about that room actually this morning. Aiden Hall missed about 5 practices in the start. Now he's finally getting his feet back under him. Quincy and Hayes, played a lot of football. Frank, since we recruited him, this is the moment after the redshirt year. He's taken that next step. He's a hammerhead. Darius Jones has got to be a big factor in special teams. So that group, is really understanding our scheme, and they're really playing fast.
Is there a specific group or anything just overall that has been surprising to you, the most surprising to you throughout this camp that you thought maybe going into camp could have been a weakness, and then you get into the second scrimmage and realize maybe isn't?
Corner. Corner. I did a donor event up there, and that's one of the first questions they asked me. But, between Webb and Ashad and Braylon and Trey playing his best ball and KP being back and Sasha still on the RI, should get him back after the first bye week. It's a really, really competitive group. Their flexibility, both Webb and Bray are going to be playing free safety and some star positions and packages. So, their versatility has been a complete, 180 for our football team as far as the depth of that corner position.
Coach, you've talked about using both the quarterbacks, in different situations. How much have you moved from being we don't really know who's going to be the guy to, oh no, their strengths are now starting to show up?
Well, I think you see that. Once again, Robbie with his feet is incredible. But he is more than that. I thought his move the pocket game was really sharp today. And Deshaun every once in a while will make that, freshman mistake, and then all of a sudden have that play where you're like, man. So that's going to be the battle as we make this decision. Not just who's the best for game 1, who's going to be the best game 6. Who continues gets the rep and is the best game 10. Those are kind of the decisions that we have to make. And, if that's both of them, we'll go with that.
And with that, say if you choose one or the other, what's the process like of making sure the other kind of stays locked in and saying, hey, we
I think that's a man versus himself battle. I think it really is. Both guys are relatively inexperienced, right? They both played 1 season, really. So anything can happen, and that's not to say, hey, we're just going to have a quick hook on somebody. It's saying, hey, be ready, because you never know when your number's called, and we're going to need you in a bunch of different ways, right? So, if we get whatever and go to 2 minute, who's the best in 2 minute? Who's the best in red zone packages? Who's the best in a bunch of different things? So keep the defense guessing. I've said that a lot, and like where those 2 guys are at.
Dev, what have you seen kind of out of the growth of the young guys in the room, Quinn Richard, George Stee, Jack Hines?
Yeah, a whole bunch of great stuff. I mean, the young guys in our group have done a great job just attacking, whether it's Coach Carter Webb or Coach Jared Castor. They've just been listening and applying what we're talking about in the meeting room to Indy, and then from Indy to group and group to team. I'm real impressed with not just the starters, but the young guys, even the real young guys. I know Doyle's old, but Doyle and DJ and the pups, Offit and Aiden Martin and Elliott, they've all done a killer job.
Coach just mentioned you guys probably have 8 to 9 guys that he feels really solid about. Do you feel that also? Obviously you're not anticipating injuries, things like that, but if a guy goes down, that you guys have plenty of guys to step up in those places?
Yeah. Luckily I'm not the head coach of the GM. I would say there's a lot more than 8 guys that I really trust and feel confident with on this team. So I'm proud of where this team is right now so far through fall camp, and I'm excited to get this season undergo.
Will it be a long 2 weeks before the first game?
It's been a long 8 months leading up to my first game at Legacy Stadium, but it's right around the corner. Continue to take it one day at a time and just be in the present. You're never going to get better if you're always thinking about 2 weeks from now. So what can I do tonight to recover, and then tomorrow to recover, and Sunday when we're back at it for practice.
Is there a sense, though, of maybe some relief? Camp is over. Now you can really start working on the installs for week 1.
I'm really excited to start studying my opponent, start understanding the guy I'm going to block. Because at fall camp, I'm not studying Jay Love or Zach Loha. I'm just worrying about my technique and my fundamentals. And now really to go in the film room and not just to understand the offense, but to study a guy's move or see if he leans in his stance at all. That does really excite me.
At what point of fall camp are you kind of tired of hitting?
I love
Zay
football.
Low, but we want to hit someone else besides. So
yeah, it does get tiring. And the toughest thing for me is Coach says a lot, practice habits equal game execution. And the only thing is, at practice, I'm trying to keep my guys up, and I don't want to take them to the ground. So I can't wait until I can really, block a guy and take him to the bus stop or just keep driving until I hear that whistle. So.
How difficult is it when you're dealing with kind of Robbie and Deshaun? I know you're running still the same kind of offense, but Robbie's more of a runner and kind of moves Purdy. Is it different kind of working in front of those two different guys, or just more of a still trying to do your job?
I wouldn't say it's difficult, but yeah, it's our job to protect the quarterback. So whether he wants to stand in the quarterback or whether the quarterback wants to move in the pocket, I have to give him, and our O-line has to give them as much time as they need. So.
When you take a guy to the bus stop, what does that look like? What does the bus stop look like? Is it just a pile of guys that you...
The bus stop is outside the field of play. So if you can take a guy and just keep driving your feet until he's no longer within the lines, and they got to tell you to stop. That's taking the guy to the bus stop.
How many yards does Damon lose in thud?
Definitely not an accurate stat finding on Damon on camp because we haven't done too much live with him, but I think you guys were watching that third or fourth play. I think that was a 70-yard explosive touchdown. So I can't wait till he gets the opportunity to really show his speed and his ability to break tackles, and I know he's going to go for a lot of yards.
Where you guys stand right now, how do you compare that, if you can at all, to years past, where this team was at this point in the offseason leading into week 1?
Comparison is the thief of all joy. So it's just growing as a team, enjoying football, enjoying the heat, enjoying the bad, being tired of fall camp. It's just all enjoyment, and that game's around the corner. So this team is special. I think it's really talented, but I can't really compare it to any team I've been a part of.
You feel like you're in a different kind of shape dealing with Southern Heat versus Washington State?
Yeah, they definitely didn't tell me in my recruiting pitch about how serious this humidity is, especially for someone like myself. I sweat a lot if it's raining and snowing outside, so I've done my fair share of research and ways to not sweat while playing football as well this camp, so that's been good.
Any insight you want to give us? It's hot over
Tips
here
and
on the
tricks, you
sidelines.
might need an extra pair of socks, 2 pairs of underwear, and baby powder is very useful.
I feel like it was a big improvement from last week's scrimmage. We came out here with energy, came out here with that competitive spirit, and we was just ready to work. I mean, last week, we was competing, but it was slow. So I feel like we attacked the game plan and put in work today.
Are you getting nearer to game speed, you think, as you guys get here closer?
Oh, yes, sir. Honestly, I feel like the defense, I feel like we've been moving, playing fast since the first day. I feel like, it's been mental mistakes and critical errors here and there, but at the same time, I feel like we playing super fast.
How competitive is the linebacker room right now?
Oh yeah, it's a nice competition. The coach haven't made it clear who's the starter yet, but we're not worried about that. We just competing every day, making sure we got depth, because that's the biggest thing when it comes to football, because it's a long season, so you never know who's gonna go down, who's gonna lead who. So yeah.
It seems like the biggest thing that's been figured out over the last 3 weeks in that room has been who can play with who. We see different combinations every time. Is that what you guys have talked about also?
Yeah, we just we trying to make this narrative is it doesn't matter who you're in with, just do your job and it's gonna be a good defense.
Camp can get to be a real grind after a while. It can feel long. Is there some added energy now that it's over and you can kind of just relax for a day, relax tonight, whatever, and get started back to practice and focusing on an opponent next week?
I say definitely. I mean, anytime you just going against your guys every day, you kind of get tired of just seeing the same people, so you want to hit somebody else. So I feel like next week when we start moving into game planning for Kennesaw, another team is going to be better, going to be fine.
Is there one specific area for the defense or for your room in particular that you've seen the most growth from that first initial practice of fall camp?
Honestly, I couldn't single out though one position, but one skill set that the whole defense has got better is our communication and our eyes. I feel like we're reading our keys and we're talking. So I feel like if you read your keys and you can talk about it, you can play. So.
Dickert mentioned you missed the first couple of days of camp. Obviously, you've had some injury issues in the past. What have you kind of learned about yourself when you've been out, and how have you been applying that out here?
I learned to myself that I'm I actually am valuable and the team needs me. So when I'm out, it kills me because I know how much the team needs me. So when I'm out here, I give it my all.
What's it like when you see, even in these kinds of nights when it's just thud? What's it like when you see Damon running at you?
I mean, you gotta. He's a ball player. I'm not gonna lie. I love practicing and playing against Damon because it sharpens my shield. Iron sharpens iron. So whenever I see him, I actually smile because I know that he's gonna give me his best and I'm gonna give him my best. So I love competing with him.
How much does he talk smack about how many yards he would have if it's not Thud?
I'm like, yeah. Me and him in the locker room, like, we just made that tackle. I'm like, yeah, I would have made that tackle. So yeah, it's nice competition, but at the same time, I feel like me and him, we have gotten each other so much better when it comes to pass rushing and pick like PBU and stuff like that. So I would say yeah.
Hamilton, I know it's DC, but he's over your room. What's it been like working with Scotty?
I love that guy. Me and Scotty, we gotta I feel like me and him, I feel like we think the same. So like, I'm a big picture person, and he's the DC, so of course he got to be big picture. So I feel like that aspect of itself just makes us mesh together, especially with AP. He's so philosophical and he knows the game. So I feel like everything just meshes completely well.
Good.